Hey guys, this is ASTRODIM'S here doing a reading on Marilyn Monroe's chart and how it kind of shows her body, okay? So, I wanted to do a reading on someone who's of an ethnic background that's not particularly known for being super curvaceous. No, I'm not saying that white people are not curvaceous sometimes, but it is known that that's usually curvaceous bodies come from people of black descent. Okay? Facts is facts. But of course, she's a prime example of how you can be whatever ethnicity and still be curvy. Okay? So, please don't come at me on some funny shit. Okay? Like, again, I'm using her as an example. But I wanted to use her as an example too because, like, again, like she's super curvy, and was known for her body. Her chart, first glance, people would be like, oh, well, how is she curvy? It doesn't kind of make sense with her chart. I'm going to show you how it does. And I want to show you with a person who's of an ethnic background, who's usually known for not being the most voluptuous people. Again, yes, I know there are curvy people of all ethnicities. But again, a lot of curvy people, most of the curvaceousness comes from black ethnicities. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look. Also, with this being said, too, I'm not a body shamer. I think all body types are dope. That's the wonderful thing that I actually like about fashion is because there's some clothing that looks great on one body type and another body type. And, everyone can have their shine. There's beauty within all shapes and sizes. Okay. So, wanted to add that there too. Now, let's take a look at Marilyn Monroe. Like when I typed in Marilyn Monroe body, they had her measurements. The measurements doesn't seem completely right, but I'm just going to say them regardless. Um, it says that she has a 37-inch bust, 23.5-inch waist, and 37.5-inch hips. Okay. Very curvy. A huge differentiation between her hips and her waist and her bust. Okay. That's what you call a curvy woman. And her curvaceous body was just known, kind of was the epitome of femininity. Even if you look at the pictures I'm scrolling at right now, the right picture on the upper hand, or the upper part of the screen, shows her with a little bit more meat on her bones, while the picture on the left shows her more leaned out, but still super duper curvy, right? So this woman's body was like banging. If she was, you know, famous, or if she was alive around, this time, especially how curvy bodies are being very praised, she would get all the love, all the love like she did in the 50s. Okay. Um, but Marilyn Monroe was all about embracing one's body and one's curves and stuff like that. So she's very um, revered and loved for that. You know what I mean? So yeah, if you kind of notice too, again, like her hips are wide, she has a really small waist. She has a nice size bust or breast, but they're not like too big. Okay, so I kind of want you to just note that because I'm going to mention that within her chart later. As you can see, even with this picture to the left, right? Her breasts are like not huge, but her back, her upper back is kind of wide, which creates this hourglass shape. You get what I'm saying? And so you can kind of see like where I'm coming from, like even with this picture to the right here. You should know she has a great size chest. I mean, I wish my breasts were that small. I really do. Big breasts are not all what it's cracked up to be. It's kind of whack. But she has like smaller chest, but it's just her upper back's kind of wider, which creates this like hourglass shape because her waist is so small. Okay. And it makes it seem like she has like a bigger bust measurement wise when it's not. It's really her mostly her back's being probably measured. You get what I'm saying? So that's why she has like a 37-inch bust. But yeah, just kind of scanning through, letting you guys see how lovely and curvaceous her body was. For, even if you look at the women of the 50s, yeah, they were curvy, but a petite type of curvy, more of an athletic type of curvy. Women had lovely bodies back in the 50s for sure, but more of a petite curvy type of, like a petiter curvy, not like so vivacious, so voluptuous as her. And so, oops, sorry, I did not want you guys to see that. Hopefully you didn't notice it. But you know, she again was more voluptuous with it. And so that what made her that's what made her a little bit different. You get what I'm saying? So anyways, let's take an actual look at her birth chart. Oops, that's no. Okay, there you go. This is her birth chart. Okay, of Marilyn Monroe. I'm on astro theme right now. Born June 1st, 1926, and 9:30. Gemini Sun, Leo Rising, Aquarius Moon. Okay, and so remember how I was describing her back before? Well, she's a Leo rising. Leo risings rule the back, okay? And the rising sign in your first house represents your personality persona, but also your appearance and your body. So, of course, her back will be pronounced. It'll be a little bit wider. It'll be defined. You know what I mean? She wore a lot of dresses and clothing kind of showing off her back. Did a lot of poses showing off her back and stuff like that. And so, a lot of Leo risings have great backs. Okay. Another thing too that I've noticed, usually Leo risings are known for having more narrow hips, but that wasn't the case for her at all. So you shouldn't follow everything to a T. You have to kind of look at the chart holistically. Okay. You see that she has Neptune in the first. Neptune energy is quite lovely and quite interesting because it gives you kind of like a softer, flowy type of vibe, softer, flowy body, curvy type of body, because again, Neptune's connected with Pisces, that's water. But the thing is, it's mutable Pisces, it's flexible energy, okay? And so what's known for like Pisces risings or people with Neptune in the first, they'll be wonderful actresses and actors because they can be a chameleon. They can adjust to whatever situation that they need to adjust to. All right. And so with her, with it being her first house, it didn't only apply to her persona, it didn't only apply to her acting career, but it applied to her body. If she wanted her body to do one thing, she can make it do one thing. You know what I mean? So what she wanted to have the look that she wanted was specifically to be curvaceous, small waist, wider hips, be, proud of her curves. And she was able to do that. Now, her body wasn't that much different from when she was younger and when she first, started taking pictures and stuff. But you've noticed a slight difference in her body. And so you can tell, I feel like with a lot of Neptune energy folks that they can do certain diets or do certain things to get their body the shape that they want to get faster than the normal person. And so she probably was able to do that. But what happened for sure here is with this water connected planet, it softened her body a bit more than the typical Leo rising person. Now again, not all Leo risings, if they have zero energy in their first house, are not like this gymnast built type of person, or built like sort of like a triangle or anything like that. But it is something, a trend that people have noticed for sure. Okay. Another thing that I want to point out too is that her ascendant is in 13 degrees Leo, which is the second decan of Leo. Okay. With it being the second decan of Leo, that's ruled by the sun, of course, but the second decan is co-ruled by Jupiter. Okay. And Jupiter is known for or represents like the thighs. And a lot of people that have Sag energy in their first house, or a lot of Sag energy in general, or a lot of Jupiter energy in the first house, tend to have thicker thighs. You know what I mean? And that what makes them curvaceous. Very defined and strong legs. You know what I mean? So for her to be in the Jupiter decant of Leo, for her rising sign, to have that for her rising sign, no wonder her legs were thicker and curvier and strong and solid. So that, of course, added into her curvaceousness, okay? What I also usually look at for curviness is the second house. The second house is naturally connected to Taurus and Venus. Now, she only has Virgo in the second house, right? The Virgo's energy is not really known for being super duper curvy. They're known for kind of being like long and lanky, bony even, unless they are of the third decan of Virgo, which is ruled by Venus. Her decan of Virgo is the first decan of Virgo, was in her second house, so that's definitely not the case for her. So that energy is now excluded there. If you look at her fourth house, now fourth house is connected to Cancer. Cancer is connected to the breast and the chest, the upper chest, okay? And like I mentioned before, you notice how it seemed through her measurements she had a big chest, but she actually didn't. It was her back, her well-defined back, that's kind of shown for her Leo first house, when she actually had like an average size, a smaller size breast. What kind of pushed that energy a little bit more was the Saturn, right? Her Saturn's retrograde, but Saturn definitely makes things smaller, restricts things a bit. So even though she has water ruling her fourth house, which again brings that softness, that curvaceousness, that femininity into your look, because she has that energy there, with that Saturn kind of making things smaller, her breasts end up being smaller. But again, big breast doesn't mean you're like the queen of the world. Small breast doesn't mean it either. It just shows that you have a smaller chest. But then her bigger back made it seem like she had a bigger chest, when it just was more of her hourglass shape in her back, her back and her waist ratio that kind of created that vibe. You know what I mean? So you see what I'm coming right here, right? Okay. So, lastly, when I usually look at when it comes to the body is the seventh house. The seventh house is also connected to Venusian vibes. Now, the reason why I'm looking at the second and the seventh is because it's connected with Taurus and Venus. And Venus is femininity. Venus is curvaceousness. It represents you being super duper curvy, super duper feminine, that type of vibe, okay? Now, I'm not saying that because you have more of a ruler or athletic or even not pear-shaped, but an apple-shaped body, that you're not feminine. Nope, that's not the case. But this is literally how it's described in astrology. It is what it is. Sorry, boo. Like, that's just what it is, okay? I didn't create astrology, so I'm just telling you what I know, all right? So, her seventh house is ruled by Aquarius. Now, Aquarius energy is not known for being that curvy either, especially because her Aquarius is not the third decan of Aquarius, which is ruled by Venus. If it was, then I'll be like, okay, that's where the curviness comes from. But it looks like her seventh house, just like her first, is in the second decan of Aquarius. But she has the moon and Jupiter in the seventh house. There goes the curviness. Now, the reason why we look at the seventh house is connected with Venus and Libra, but Libra represents the butt, okay? And so it makes your butt and your hips a bit wider. She has Jupiter there, which represents expansion, and she has the moon there, which again is the mother. You think about mother, you think about giving birth, childbearing hips, your body expanding, so you can like bring this body, this human out of your womb into the world. You know what I mean? So it's easier for people with certain shapes to give birth than other people. And again, the moon, it represents the mother, it represents femininity and shit like that. And so when you have moon in like your seventh house, your second house, your fourth house, your first house, you seem to have more of a softer vibe to you, a personality, of course, but also when it comes to your body, how you appear, and so and plus the moon is like tumultuous. It kind of has its ups and downs, and it can, of course, a lot of people say when it's the full moon, a lot of people have a lot of water retention. They seem to be a little bit heavier during the full moon. Shit like that, basically. So with Jupiter and the moon in her seventh house, both, the moon represents femininity and making her softer and having her, having a rounder moon. Get it? Yeah, but having like a rounder body, a rounder hips, rounder bum. The moon definitely does that because it brings the femininity there, but Jupiter also expands. So expands her hips, expands her butt. So that's where the curvaceousness comes from, okay? Another person could easily look at her second house too. Excuse me, her 10th house. 10th house is your reputation. So it's not really your body, but your reputation, what you're known for. And so you could actually not be that curvy, but people be like, yeah, she's curvy. And a normal person be like, no, she's really not. Like, I don't understand. I'm more curvier. But because that's their reputation, that's what they're known for, people just riding with it. You know what I mean? That whole group think shit. With her, that's definitely not the case because her body was definitely curvaceous. But I'm just letting you know how it could play out. If someone's not so curvy but have the appearance of being curvy. If you look at her 10th house is or her MCs in 6 degrees Taurus. Taurus is ruled by Venus, but the first decan of Taurus is also ruled by Venus. There's a double Venus, so she's going to be appearing as someone who's definitely feminine, sensual, curvaceous, very, very Venus. You get what I'm saying? And so even if she had like a more of athletic or a ruler shape or apple shaped body, people would acknowledge her for her curves because of the 10th house. You get what I'm saying? And so that's how that goes, especially with Venus being not so far. It's not really conjuncting. It actually not. A person could say it's conjuncting because Venus is in 28 degrees Aries, but 45 minutes. So Venus, her Venus in MC is conjuncting, so it makes her even more Venusian than a typical person. And so that's how it kind of plays out for her, right? So this is why Marilyn Monroe is so curvy. From all the things that I described, she was meant to have a curvaceous body, and just because you don't have a Taurus or a Libra in the first house, or just because you don't have that energy, that doesn't mean, or Venus in the first house, doesn't mean that you have no chance of being curvy and shapely. You definitely do, and she just proved it right there in your face. Okay. So I kind of wanted to show you guys that so you can get a understanding of how astrology could work when it comes to your body. I always talked about Beyonce's chart. She has Libra first house. Libras are Venusian. They're known for being beautiful. And they're known for being like people want to relate with them and connect with them. And everybody that meets Beyonce says that she's just such a sweet, charming, the nicest person ever, like type of girl. Like people just love her. But again, like she's super duper curvy. Like her natural body is extremely curvy. You know what I mean? And then I think she has like a heavy something with her 7th house too, and second. And so I think she has a 2nd house moon or something like that. And so again, it gives her that curviness. It gives her that butt, that shape, like hers is like, she's super duper Venusian and it's just showing literally in her chart. But Marilyn Monroe is definitely Venusian, but not as Venusian as Beyonce, but it's still played out for her pretty well and showed how her body could be curvy. You know what I mean? And so that's what I'm kind of seeing there. So yeah, guys, that's how you can see how Marilyn Monroe was curvy through her chart. I hope you guys like this. I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions. Comment, like, subscribe, share, care, all that good stuff. And I hope you have a good one. This was really fun to do. Let me know if you want me to inspect other people's bodies. I was looking over Taylor Swift's body before, chart with her body before, and it's like made so much sense because at first I was confused about certain aspects, and I'm like, oh, that makes sense. And again, this is not here. We're not doing body shaming here, okay? I'm not for that shit. So, if I see any body shaming, I'm like deleting shit. I might be blocking you. I'm not for it. This is a happy space. We're respecting everybody and their body types and their differences. Okay. All right. So I hope you guys like this. All right. Much love. Peace.